to Taylor Treasures!
I usually do it, but she wanted to do it this time.
I did. I've never done it, so there you go. Congratulations on hearing it.
Yes, so today we have a really fun episode planned. As you can see, our background has changed from its normal background. It is I Love Lucy and 1950s-ified. Look at that. Ooh. So, what? Okay. Alright, so what we were doing today is we are actually going to share some things about I Love Lucy, the amazing TV show. I think one of the best comedic shows out there.
It's very, very funny.
Yes, it is, but it was from the 1950s, and we love the show. We think it's really awesome. So today we're going to be sharing things about I Love Lucy that you might not have known. And it's gonna be a lot of fun.
It's gonna be exciting.
Yes. So the first thing about I Love Lucy, which started in 1951, was actually based off of a radio show Lucille Ball starred in from 1948 to 1951, which was called My Favorite Husband. She played a character called Liz Cooper on it, and her co-star on-air husband, which was named George Cooper, was actor Richard Denning. Many of the plot lines in I Love Lucy were actually based off of the radio show as well. So CBS, where I Love Lucy was going to be broadcasted, insisted that Denning continue to play her husband on the new show. Lucille, on the other hand, had other ideas.
Oh, that Lucille.
She did. So she actually wanted her real-life Cuban husband of 10 years, Desi Arnaz, to play her on-screen husband. At the time, Arnaz was a band leader / singer and on the road a lot, and Lucille thought this would be a good way for them to see more of each other.
Huh.
Yeah, so if Desi quit the band and he co-starred with her in I Love Lucy. The network did not think this was a good idea at all, as they thought people wouldn't believe that a redhead was actually married to a Cuban, and her response was, "But we are married.
Duh.
So isn't that realistic enough? Won't people believe that?" So after fighting hard with CBS and the sponsors of the up-and-coming show, Lucille finally got her way, and she and Desi started what would be one of the most famous TV shows, starring the soon-to-be famous couple, Ricky and Lucy Ricardo, which actually they were almost named Larry and Lucy Lopez, but they didn't like that, so they changed it.
Nah, I don't like Larry. I like
Ricky. I like Ricky.
So Desi Arnaz, who had the part of Ricky, had a very thick accent. And it worried the network at first because they thought that the people watching may have a hard time understanding him. But soon they would find that it brought a lot of character to the show in many ways. One way was the ongoing joke of Ricky mixing up well-known phrases. Like, for example, he would say, "The cast is die," instead of "the die is cast." So often Desi actually did not know what the American phrases meant.
Yeah, he saw them on the script, but
he never said anything.
Yeah, he didn't.
The second was the cast making fun of his English. So at first, Lucy, Ethel, and Fred would all make fun of Ricky's English. They soon realized that the live audience that came to the show every week, they never really laughed when Ricky was being poked fun of, except when Lucy did it.
Yeah.
And they would find it funny.
When the other cast did it, they really didn't.
Yeah, they did not. The audience didn't like it when Ethel or Fred would make fun of his English. So it was decided that the only cast member allowed to make fun of his English was Lucy. And they would put that in the script to make fun of his accent. And I guess maybe the audience just found it mean coming from the other cast members, but they figured Ricky's wife was allowed to pick on him, and it was kind of an endearing thing.
That's why they would laugh at it more.
Right. That's why it was okay for Lucy to do it.
Yeah. So while the other cast grew close over the seasons, William Frawley, who played Fred Mertz, was a bit of a loner and liked to do his own thing. Probably part of the reason is that he and Vivian never actually got along on set.
Pretty true to the characters.
Yeah, they really did not like each other because they'd had a fight at the beginning and they never really forgave each other. So that's probably part of the reason. He would show up to work, do what he was asked, and then leave. Sometimes he wouldn't even read the script fully. He would take his part of the script that said Fred, he would highlight it, and then he would just read that part and not the rest of the script. So because of that, sometimes he would come into rehearsals and he would say, "This line that I have, it says, 'Hello, Ethel.' That's not funny, yet it says it's supposed to be funny on the script. Why is it in there? It's not funny." So then they would have to explain to him, well, William, or they called him Bill. You know, you didn't read the whole script, but what really happens is that Ethel's in a disguise and there's this build-up, and then you come in and you recognize it's her right away, and he's like, oh yeah, that is funny. But he never read the script fully, so he did that a lot.
His own fault.
Yeah.
So the pilot of I Love Lucy was actually almost postponed. Right before they started filming, a man from the health department came up to Desi and told him that he didn't pass his health inspection because there had to be one bathroom for men and one bathroom for women that was close and easy to get to from the audience seats. The newly named Desilu Studios only had one bathroom, and it was for the men's, and that was close by. But Lucille saved the day by saying, "Tell the ladies to be my guest," which meant that they could use the bathroom in her dressing room.
Right.
So the pilot was actually filmed as planned.
That'd be cool. Oh, it'd be like, oh, I have to go to the bathroom. Yeah, you really don't have to because you probably just want to see her dressing room.
Oh, excuse me, can I go to the bathroom?
Yeah, I have to go. Okay. So, Lucille Ball's mom, which she called Dee Dee, never missed one live show and was always in the audience, even for other shows she did. She was always there. It's so sweet. But actually, if you listen closely in some of the episodes, you hear a woman's voice going, "Uh-oh," and then like a little giggle. That's actually Dee Dee. You can actually hear her in the audience.
Point it out.
Yeah, whenever like Lucy's gonna get into a scheme. From time to time, you can also hear Desi Arnaz's very distinct laugh coming from behind the set when he was not acting. And I've actually heard that sometimes, like the you can actually hear it, which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
And also, the laughter from the I Love Lucy shows was used a lot for shows after, like that weren't live but they needed a laugh track. They would actually use a lot of it is from I Love Lucy.
So, I have to throw this in here, this fun little fact. So, Lucia, hence, can be called Lucy. And for the longest time, we would tell her, you should watch I Love Lucy. You should see it. You'd think it was funny. Because she liked Dick Van Dyke and Andy Griffith. For a while, when she was younger, she got all this I Love Lucy stuff. People would buy her ornaments and just different random things that were that. But she refused to watch it. I don't know why. She's like, no, don't want to watch that. Don't want to watch that.
I was young.
Nope,
I didn't understand.
And then she watched it, and now she's like the biggest fan ever. So I just find it rather funny.
Yeah. Well, no, actually, nobody calls me Lucy, though. Usually it's
when
just
you were
Lucia.
little, a few people randomly did, but no one actually calls you that. But you still got a lot of Miranda and stuff from I Love Lucy.
Right.
So all 4 cast members were very professional, so there was never any real ad-libbing while filming. The only ad-libbing they would do was the script readings before the rehearsals, when they would change the lines that didn't seem to work or weren't funny enough. Speaking of being professional, they really had to be while filming live because the directors of the show throughout the seasons, Mark Daniels, William Ashner, and James V. Kern, they rarely ever cut to retakes, except if a blooper got like really, really out of hand, but that almost never happened.
Yeah.
The few times that they did have to do retakes, it was usually because Desi would keep messing up certain words a little too much so that they were worried people wouldn't understand what he was trying to say.
Yeah. So, the famous episode when Lucy gets drunk on the Vitameatavegamin, in the episode Lucy does a TV commercial, she was actually just eating apple pectin. That's it, which they use in like jams. So that's kind of interesting. Also, years later, Lucille in an interview says she never enjoyed filming that episode, though she admitted it was a funny episode later, because she was so stressed and worried about getting her lines and acting right for that Vitameatavegamin scene. But obviously, she nailed it on the live performance.
So contrary to popular belief, Desi was not the first person to use 3 camera angles for filming. It was first invented in 1947 for NBC by a film director named Jerry Fairbanks. But even so, it had hardly been used in television to that point, and Desi was the first person to use it regularly. And it soon became popular for all TV shows because Desi believed it would work much better than just using one camera. And he was right.
Yep, he was right. So, Desilu wanted to be as accurate as possible for the show, so they actually made sure that everything in the Ricardo's apartment was something that would be in a middle-class home, even down to like the pillows and the paintings. Also, Lucille said that she wanted to make sure that any crazy scenario that she would get herself into, she had to be able to get it there in a believable way, because she said if the cast didn't believe that that could actually happen, it wouldn't be as funny to them and they wouldn't be able to act act it as well because they felt they had to believe that they were actually there. And she also thought that if they'd gotten there in a really bizarre, like not realistic way, the audience wouldn't believe it, and so they wouldn't find it as funny, like because you want to think that it's actually happening in real life.
Right. You have to be able to relate to it.
Right. So they made sure that every time there was a crazy scenario, they got there pretty realistically so that the audience would find it funnier, which was actually worked.
So when the Ricardos and Mertzes go to Hollywood, they meet many celebrities while they're there in that episode, or that series of episodes, I guess. One of the people they meet is Harpo Marx. So Lucy had known Harpo since the 1930s, and they were actually good friends, but she hated rehearsing with him just for this episode. So the famous scene from that episode called Lucy and Harpo Marx was when Lucy basically mirrors everything Harpo does, dressed as Harpo. And Lucille, she always did everything word for word, like from the scripts, but Harpo, who'd been doing this for a certain number of years, the same routine, would change his routine every time they rehearsed.
Yep.
Which wasn't actually many rehearsals. Somehow they found a way to, I guess, know what he would generally do, because the scene was flawless for live taping. I mean, they're doing the exact same thing.
Right.
And also, Harpo actually was told by his doctor that he shouldn't be acting at the time because he was just recovering from a heart attack. But nonetheless, Harpo did end up doing that memorable episode of I Love Lucy, and right after filming the show, he had another heart attack.
He did,
Which was rather awful.
Yeah, he did recover from that one too.
He was okay.
Yeah, but that would be so aggravating. I mean, of all scenes, not to do the same. A mirror scene where
you literally have to copy what they're doing.
Yeah, and he's changing it.
He's like changing it.
And he said that, like, you know what? He didn't even think about it because he's been doing it for over 30 years. He's done this bit for a while, and he's like, I just do it whatever comes to mind. I don't really keep to a script. But Lucy she wanted to stick to that script.
To the script.
Yes,
and
yes.
It's really annoying if he doesn't do that.
Because that's actually what she did as an actor, especially for comedy, is that she really wanted to get it word for word from the script because she felt that she wasn't funny in real life. So she felt she could only be funny if she did it exactly as the paper was telling her. So for having Harpo doing that would be very frustrating for her. Mm-hmm. Also, I wanted to apologize if you hear like ladders and stuff. They're doing roofing work over there, so if you hear that, keep like putting their ladders back and forth. Yeah, so that's why they're doing that. Lucille for many years actually put her body through a lot of injuries for the sake of comedy and getting an extra laugh, which was not very common for that time for female comedians to do that. So she'd get like broken bones, she'd get bruises, she'd do all this stuff to be funnier with like slapstick. And on the episode of I Love Lucy called Lucy's Italian Movie, Lucy does what is probably one of the most famous scenes alongside of the Vitameatavegamin, which is where she goes to an old Italian vineyard and stomps on grapes in a huge vat. For that scene, they actually got one of the last grape stompers from Italy. Because, I mean, I don't know if they even exist now, but there were a few back then that were still there. But she actually couldn't speak English, so they brought in a translator to tell her what to do for this scene. So, what was supposed to happen for this scene is that Lucy and this grape stomper were supposed to get into a fight inside the vat, and then they would throw grapes at each other, and she would push Lucy down into the ground, and Lucy wanted to get a shot where her legs were like flailing to make it funny. But the problem is that the grape stomper woman was actually very strong, even though she's a very small person, but very stocky. So very, very much. So when she was supposed to push Lucy down into the grapes, she didn't know to let her come up for air. So what was supposed to be a fake fight actually turned into a real one because Lucille was like grabbing for air because she was trying to get up out of these grapes, and this woman, because she didn't speak English, did not know that she was supposed to let her up.
She was just doing the scene.
Yeah, she's just doing it. She thought, oh, she's fighting with me, I'm gonna keep holding her down. So when she comes back up from that scene, Lucille, you see her face where she's like really concerned, and it was real because she was trying to catch her breath.
Gosh, I almost was suffocated.
Yeah, so she literally almost drowned in front of a live audience. And the scene went well, they were laughing, but nobody knew. She was actually, like, about to die.
So be careful, those grape stompers, you know what? You gotta watch
They're
them.
Tough. Yeah, you gotta watch it.
Tough as nails.
Yeah.
The last little tidbit is that their schedules were very, very tight before filming, and it was a lot of hard work. Tuesdays were dedicated to script readings and changing it to the best that it could be. We think that probably Mondays was when they got to read the scripts at home. That would be our best guess. Because on Wednesday mornings, they did an informal rehearsal, and by then they were expected to know all their lines.
Wow.
And then Wednesday afternoons were run through of the show so the cameramen would know where to block the camera's movements. Thursday mornings were for the lighting crew to get the lighting right, and around noon on Thursday was their dress rehearsal. Then Friday morning they would do any finishing touches that were needed, and at 8 it was time to film the live show.
Wow.
So that's a lot.
A full script within a day.
Entire script in a day. To remember all that.
To remember that. That's crazy.
Plus, they didn't really ever stop, so...
Yeah, they had to... Yeah, when it was filming season, they did it every week for a while.
Yeah.
That's crazy. So that's all we have today of the things of I Love Lucy that you might not have known. Maybe you did. Comment down below what you did know and what you didn't know. We'd also like to do this again with other TV shows, or if you'd like us to share more facts about I Love Lucy, we'd love to do that.
Yeah.
But yeah, we just found these really interesting, and I think the show is just really, really classic comedy show.
It's very classic.
Yes, very, very, very classic. But now it is time for the news.
Hello, and thanks for tuning in. Tonight we have to share with you that a devastating hailstorm is headed our way, probably the largest in the last 35 years. But enough of that!
And
Hello everyone, and welcome to our next segment, I Love Lucia! Yes, thank you everyone. Thank you so much for coming tonight. We are very excited to have you here. So, you are going to answer some much wanted to know the answer questions of. I'm apparently not very good at being a game host, but that's okay. So the first question we have for you tonight is, who is your ideal man? What qualities do you look for?
It's kind of a deep question. I was trying to do the news. Why are we doing this? I don't understand.
Thanks for that answer. You know what? That is great insight into your life. How about where would your perfect date be?
I'm very confused. I was not told about this earlier. I needed to prepare. Was it language?
Yeah. Good one. Like that one. Great. Yes. Next important question. Do you have a problem if this interesting person you would go on a date with would have a large supply of porcupines in their backyard?
I think I want to ask them why would they have that?
That's also a great question, and we're going to end there and come back next week for more burning questions with I Love Lucia!
And now it is time for the Taylor Treasure Box. There we go. Alrighty.
Tell one truth and one lie.
Alright, I have to tell a random fact about myself. Alright, so I have my random fact about myself. Random fact about myself is I love grape juice, but I can't stand orange juice. Yep. I can drink it, but I'm not a big orange person in general.
I'm the opposite. I can't stand grape juice. Oh, don't.
No, I love
can't
it.
stand grape
It's
juice.
great.
I can have like a little bit, but then no thanks.
Yeah. I just don't like anything orange, really. Any candy, pop, it's my last choice.
Oh man, we're opposite because me and clementines.
Yeah, I don't like real
We're
oranges
close.
either, or
We're
clementines,
close.
no.
Okay, so one truth and one lie. I have either been late and walked in the wrong ballet studio, or I've been late and I've walked in on the wrong college class.
I think it's a college class.
Nope.
No, it
The
isn't?
ballet studio was actually super embarrassing. So there's like a professional dance company where I am from, not where I teach. I teach at one that's not quite professional. They're good, but they're not quite there. But the one that I went to, they had open adult classes that you could just come and take, like a community thing. So I went in, I was a little bit late, And I did not know that they changed the studio locations. I always thought it was the same room. Apparently it wasn't. So I ran in, put my stuff down at the bar, and I'm like putting my shoes on and look up. It's a room full of like professional level dancers, and they're all just staring at me. I turned so red, and I was just, luckily the lady next to me she's like, "Oh, you in the wrong class?" I'm like, yeah, okay, I can go now. Oh, it was horrible. It was like, I have nightmares about that.
How did they know? You could have just stayed and acted like you were
Because it's a company. They know all the dancers in the company. I was not a dancer in that company. I just wanted to
embarrassing.
Die in a hole. It was horrible. But no, I never walked into the wrong college class.
Yeah. But again, we hope you enjoyed this episode. Let us know down below what shows you would like us to do next, because we love to do it. We love a lot of old shows, a lot of classics out there. And you can also give this video a like and a comment, and you can subscribe if you want, and make sure to press the bells to get all of our videos in your notifications box. And you can also follow us on Instagram and Facebook, which is @TaylorTreasuresOfficial.
That's right, and you can call us on the phone.
You can call us.
Oh, Cecilia, someone's calling right now. Answer it. Who's there?
Who is it? Hello? Who's there?
Who is it?
You were supposed to be the next person. I don't know.
I thought you were going to do it.
Nope.
Well,
I don't know.
There's no one there.
There's no one here.
So you can put the phone down.
Okay. That didn't work.
You didn't get my whole thing there.
No, I thought you were going to be the person on the phone.
Oh.
But, anyways, we will see you next Thursday.
Bye.
Hey guys, thanks for watching that
Now there really is someone on
episode.
Hello?
Okay, hello?
Hello?
Who's there?
Who's there?
Subscribe? Is subscribe there?
Hello, is this subscribe? I think our connection's bad. Hello?
You gotta hit the subscribe button more.
Okay,
There's a
hit the subscribe button. Okay.
And then there's a video.
Now click on the video.
Yeah, click on the video.
Right there. No, other side. Yeah, there you go.
Click on the video. Yeah.
Okay, good
Did
job.
I get it? Okay.
Okay.
Alright, cool.